بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Saidina Abdul Rahman Bin Auf is one of the 10 companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who was promised paradise. His lifetime will be synonymous with generosity and selflessness, traits which are increasingly depleted in current times, where the rat race has turned us into miserly and selfish beings. We shall begin with the Prophet's entry into Madinah al-Munawwarah, along with the companions, the Muhajirin from Mecca. Amongst them was Abdul Rahman Bin Auf. The town that they were entering into was one that was plagued by decades of warfare between the rival clans, the Aus and Khazraj, and an economy monopolized by the Jewish clans of Qurayza, Qaynuqa, and An-Nadir. The Prophet ﷺ wasted no time in establishing ties of kinship between the Muslims of Mecca and those in Medina. Abdul Rahman stayed with a companion by the name of Sa'ad bin Rabi' al-Ansari. Like the Prophet ﷺ, Abdul Rahman wasted no time in asking for the direction to the nearby marketplace. Remember, this was a place dominated by a community which not only had a stranglehold over the whole of Medina, but was increasingly hostile towards the Muslims. Abdul Rahman bin Auf soon established himself as an astute businessman, exceeding the Jewish community in Medina not only through his ability to reap profits, but in terms of ethics. It was only a matter of time when he eventually established a marketplace for the Muslim community themselves, which was based on fairness and compassion. Abdul Rahman bin Auf was known in Medina not for his wealth alone, but also his compassion and generosity. These were traits that are increasingly alien to each other in today's reality. Abdul Rahman bin Auf was known for providing loans to those who were not able to make timely payments. He was most flexible in extending the payment term for those who were indebted to him. When they really had difficulty in settling their debts, Abdul Rahman bin Auf will then nullify their debts and will instead proceed to attend to their daily needs, knowing that their inability to make payments were due to their dire financial conditions. One day, the city of Medina was awoken by a commotion. This commotion came in the form of 700 camels fully laden with goods belonging to Abdul Rahman bin Auf, entering into Medina. Upon hearing that the caravan belonged to Abdul Rahman bin Auf, Sayyidatina Aisha made a prayer for him. May Allah reward him for his wealth, which he has spent in the way of Allah in this world. Indeed, the reward in the hereafter is far greater. Upon hearing these words, Abdul Rahman didn't wait for his camels to be settled down, but instead proclaimed to Sayyidatina Aisha, I bear witness before you, O mother of the believers, that this caravan I donate for the sake of Allah. One of the ironies of the 21st century is that despite its unrelenting, fast-paced nature, we have the tendency to procrastinate. While there is an undeniable need for us to slow down so as to pace and not wear ourselves out, this is definitely not the same as putting things off out of sheer lethargy and laziness and anticipating for the perfect moment to execute goodness. This is in opposition to the spirit displayed by Abdul Rahman bin Auf, where he wasted no time in getting down to the task at hand, which was to seek opportunities to serve the community. The situation then was uncertain and far from perfect. While it will provide a perfect opportunity for us to not undertake further action under the guise of undesirable conditions, Abdul Rahman bin Auf took it as a signal for more urgency in undertaking actions. The devil's trick has always been to steer man away from performing goodness with immediacy by sugarcoating it with terms that seem to justify delay. Today, we have perfected that craft on our own as we continue to fall into the extreme spectrums of recklessness and laziness. Secondly, Abdul Rahman bin Auf not only showed us the importance of being prompt, but also the importance of getting into the thick of action itself. Allah mentions in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 148, "So hasten to all that is good." Again, we have spent most of our time getting into unnecessary and incessant debates over matters that are either trivial or require more of our action rather than lip service. As we continue to plunge deeper into greater divisions over debates that have long been reconciled by our esteemed scholars, we fail to pay attention and take up action to address the more obvious tribulations facing the human community, such as the declining morality due to the lack of understanding of one's fundamental purpose of creation, poverty, famine, and henceforth. The list continues to get lengthier as we continue to fight for the victory of our egos and personal interests. There is therefore a need to identify real and pertinent issues plaguing our society and to work towards constructive steps to address them. This calls for sensitivity and compassion towards others. At times, we fail to understand challenges faced by our society because it is always easier to pay lip service and take up a moral high ground when faced with the plight of others. Understand how Abdul Rahman bin Auf displayed empathy in how he helped the needy settle their debts and lifting them from the downtrodden conditions they were in. We need to be more focused and constructive in addressing the challenges of the society, moving away from the tendency to be either superficially tokenistic or arrogantly dismissive in our gestures. What we need will be the drive, activism, and humility of Abdul Rahman bin Auf. May we continue to find ways to serve the community constructively and not procrastinate in doing good. May we remain steadfast in attending to the needs of the society, emulating the steps of Saidina Abdul Rahman bin Auf.